What's up, traders? Kyle Fisher here. Hopefully you're doing awesome. A lot going on. Let's start with where we're at in terms of our positions. We closed our short in HTGM today. Beautiful setup to go short in. This market obviously is choppy. We've been through that a dozen times. So what did we see? We saw basically this huge spike. Volume completely, not a pump and dump, but close enough. So obviously I looked at this to break three. We did that. We went short, I think at 302. Or no, let me back up here. When did we go short in this? Just pulling up my phone to pull up the alerts. We went short in this at 297. Sorry, I was 5 cents off. So 297 had a 320 stop loss, so roughly 7%, $2 target. You know, right off the bat, I knew that the 13 EMA was going to be strong level of support because in swing trading it always is. So with this, you know, it was pretty self-evident, at least to me, that this was going to collapse, and I was right. You know, you saw this long tail here, and obviously it just screamed that people were selling at a massive profit after the gap and or shorting. So again, once you saw the confirmation here that it couldn't break the 200-day moving average on day 2 is when we went short. On day 3 completely collapsed. We locked in 13% in less than 2 trading days, 5 calendar days. Perfect trade, perfect swing trade. Very happy with this. You know, moving on to the longs, I'll get to 2 more shorts that I was eyeing up earlier today, and I'll add those to the watch list tonight. But looking at our shorts, or excuse me, our new longs. You know, with the overall market being pretty choppy, I was actually pleasantly surprised to watch this through the day and see this bounce off of the 13 EMA earlier and then rally back up. We're now up, I think, roughly, we went long at 611, so not up crazy yet, but obviously this has a lot of room to go. So I still think 7's a nice target here. So we're sitting on a decent, small profit, but nonetheless profit in AHT. MWA, we're currently at a 9-cent loss, but this trend here has been, you know, pretty straightforward, and the fact that this has, you know, dropped down significantly $2 since the high at 13.5, you know, tells me that right now, as long as we hold the 13 EMA, there's definitely room for growth here in the next, I'd probably say 2 weeks. So we're going to continue to hold this. You know, our stop loss at 1165 is well below the 13 EMA and right around this level of support. So again, going to be patient with this. Our other positions in terms of SEEN, TK, and CLF. Let's start with CLF. Again, this is where patience pays off. I've said this numerous times over the last couple of weeks, especially in this market. You know, we were very patient. We went long here at 605. It traded down. And I said to myself, and I said to you guys, it's going to hold this level of support, and it did. And you know why? Because the level of support was significant resistance all the way back to May and June, and then it held again significantly through September, and again now in October, and it bounced. So now we're in the green or in the black here. I think there's definitely room to test 6.5, where we'll probably look to sell at a decent profit, but this could easily rally up to 7. So again, patience pays off in swing trading. With that, I got a lot of questions today from you guys for TK and SEIN, why I didn't close at the top, quote unquote. Well, the top is always very relative after the fact. So I didn't sell at the top here at 850, 875 because of several reasons. One, the market was choppy. I had a feeling it would pull back and bounce, and it did that several times. So I didn't sell at this peak of 875 because I had a feeling that it would pull back. And I said this in, I think, the video over the weekend, and rally. Well, it's starting to do that. So I didn't take the profit right away. If you did, congratulations, that's a good trade. I still think there's more upside here. And I think the bounce here in RSI is telling us that as long as the market doesn't completely shit the bed and collapse, this should continue its trend higher. You know, this is obviously a tanker fuel-related shipping company. So obviously the overall macro environment and the sense of crude pricing and how that impacts shipping rates is obviously feeding into this. But technically, you know, the 13 EMA is still holding. We're seeing a nice uptrend in both of the indicators I love. And if we went down and looked a little bit at volume, the last major spike was a huge buy, a breakout, and that tells you that people were significantly buying 3 million shares here. Again, the spikes before, though, at the very low, were all buys. Now, obviously, for the most part, you'd have to dig into this day to figure out who was really buying and selling, but in the grand scheme of things, it was an update here, it was an update here, and it was an update here where people were purchasing the stock. So that tells me that there's significant buyers all the way through 7 and 750. Again, we're going to continue to hold this. Now, seeing why I didn't sell at the, again, quote-unquote top, which I always chuckle at because people always kind of, hindsight's always 20/20, right? And I didn't sell at the top here, which coincided with 950 for this, really the same reason, but more fundamentally, I have a, very strong opinion about Scene. We are still overbought, at least in Williams. We're starting to pull back. We made a nice doji candle today in terms of this is usually a reversal pattern. You saw that happen several times through the consolidation phase here. So it consolidated very, very tight ranges here in terms of the intraday patterns and the intraday high and lows, and then it bounced. I think, we'll probably trade sideways. We'll probably test or continue to test the 13 EMA and recover. But this is really a fundamental play, and I've been through this for the last 6 months dozens of times. That, the general story here is that they are fundamentally at a significant, deep discounted value. And as long as the 13 EMA here holds on the weekly and the low of this breakout holds, I'm going to continue to be long this position. Now we're up from our average price of $7.75, so we're up, almost $1 plus, which is a good return. But I'm going to hold this probably through their earnings release in November just to see what happens. And I would love a PR from their, management team to suggest what's going on, but we haven't gotten that yet. But that's kind of my general area of support here. The breakout candle here, the consolidation fades, holding that level, holding the 13 EMA at 830, and then to see where this takes us over the next couple weeks. If I can sell in 12 to 14, I'd be extremely happy. It would be a 50 to 60% winner for the positions that we alerted in the 6s and the 7s. 12 would be a 100% winner for the times we went long in the 6s. Our average price, though, is $7.74, so it would be, roughly, on average, probably in the 50 to 55% return range. Again, this is a little different than we normally play. It's more of a long-term hold, but I just wanted to answer some of those questions that a lot of you guys asked today in terms of not selling at the high and why I did not. So with that, I'm going to pause the video for a second. I have to pull up actually another file that has a lot of the watch lists from the scans I ran today. So give me 1 second. Alright, so I am back with 2 of the additions to the short watch list for tomorrow as well as for next week. So DRWI, Dragon Wave Inc. Never heard of it. The pattern is extremely bearish over the last 6 months. Huge spike today. So 94% in a very choppy market. Typically, the news probably would substantiate that, maybe to some degree. Frankly, I haven't even looked at the news because I don't care. I'll look tomorrow morning, but technically what I'm looking at right now is the fact that this sold off significantly, roughly 50 cents, and it couldn't break through the 200-day moving average. So looking back historically, when did that happen again? Happened again in July. Huge spike, decent volume, but not nearly as close as today. But it sold off. It sold off significantly. So obviously this isn't the same situation. Again, I didn't even look at the fundamentals yet. But I know it's not the same situation given the volume. With that, though, the one thing that is always kind of true of these short plays, the fact that you have a spike of that magnitude usually indicates people are going to either A, start taking profits, because it's been at a huge loss position over the last couple of years or last couple of quarters, and there's a huge gap here. So we're probably going to go short, a small position to start, but I would expect this to sell off heavily. It's just something that obviously intuitively people are going to start to take profits. They probably did today, and it's pretty significant that the 200-day moving average didn't hold. So this is one short I will be adding to the watch list. and the other is going to be MBRX. So another play that actually rallied pretty heavily at the close. This IPO'd obviously within the quarter in the last couple months. I still think this has room to run, and I think it probably does. I'm not going to go long in that just because obviously it's very volatile. There's no really discernible trend here or anything technically that I would like, to go long in. But when I think this calms down, I see this is overbought in both indicators. It's going to be an ideal short. Again, just under the simple premise that this is up 61% today. Technically, it's probably going to touch 550. So if you want to go long, I'm not gonna. But I think this touches 550 where I would love to go short. Again, under the premise that, too much too soon, this is going to rally very much in terms of price appreciation, and frankly, I just think it's overdone. So these are the two positions that I'm going to add to the watch list tonight, and I will be looking for a short position either tomorrow, probably Monday though. I don't like holding shorts over the weekend. Just adds too much time for something to come out in that could be potentially bullish. So that is really the wrap up for today. Again, October 20th. If you have questions, please shoot me an email. I am happy to respond, and hopefully hopefully you're making some money and made some money in the nice short in HTGM. So we will talk soon and talk tomorrow.